Okay, somebody asked me about physical affection here in Japan, and I'm going to talk about that from what I know from my experiences living here in Japan. Alright, when I first came to Japan, actually, I had a Japanese girlfriend, and I remember the first day in maybe it was well, it was actually my second day because I arrived in Japan at night. So my second day in Japan, uh, it was nighttime and we went out and we were going to go to the supermarket to get some food. And as we walked to the supermarket, we were holding hands. And up until that point, everything was normal for me. And then I remember we were in front of the supermarket about to go in, and I just I started to kiss her, and she ducked away. And I was like, what the hell are you doing? It was just totally, just was shocked to me. I didn't understand why she was ducking away from me. And then she turned all red, and she's like, no, I can't do that here. And I was like, why not? She's like, oh, it's so embarrassing. I can't do it. People just don't do that here. So then I had like this heavy weight on my shoulder, and I was like, oh my God, what can I do and what can't I do? So then from that point on, I was always kind of like tippy-toeing around her, and I had to ask her, like, okay, so what can we do when we're out in public, and what's okay and what's not okay. I've met a lot of people here in Japan, and I tell them stories about my family. Okay, I grew up in America, and every night when my dad would come home, me and my sister would run up to him and give him a hug and kiss him. And also my mom would greet him, and they would kiss and hug, and that was normal in my family. And I tell my Japanese friends that story, and they're like, I've never seen my parents kiss. I've never seen my parents touch each other. And I said, well, when you were a little kid, when your dad came home, didn't he hug you and kiss you? They said, no. They just say, tadaima, I'm home. All right, and generally, when I'm just walking around the streets or whatever here in Japan, sometimes I'll see people holding hands. It's usually young people, teenagers, or, young people in their 20s. Once in a rare while, I'll see an old couple holding hands, and I think that's really sweet. It's rare, but sometimes I see it. And then when I go to the park sometimes, actually often, I'll see like high school kids, and I know they're high school kids because they're wearing their blue uniforms, and they'll be like sitting in a corner somewhere where they're kind of out of the way, and they'll be making out. But that's about it. I mean, beyond like high school kids, I don't see people making out or kissing in public. As you might know, a lot of people like live with their parents until they get married, and like if you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, like the normal thing to do here is to go to a hotel and just rent the room for 2 or 3 hours so that you can have this intimate time with your boyfriend or girlfriend, and those are called love hotels. As far as my own personal experiences, well, like I said, I had that first girlfriend who, like, I couldn't kiss her in public. I mean, we really couldn't do anything besides hold hands. I mean, even like if we were talking about something and I said the word sex in English, like she would get really embarrassed and tell me to shut up and to be quiet, because the word sex in English is actually similar to the word sex in Japanese. Well, there's many words for sex in Japanese, but the loan word from English is pronounced almost the same. It's seksu suru. So yeah, she didn't want me to say that word when we were out in public. But then I've had other Japanese girlfriends where they didn't mind if I kissed them or, you know, did anything more than holding hands in public. So I mean, really, it just depends on the person, but I'd say overall, you should expect that if you have a Japanese girlfriend or boyfriend here in Japan, that they're gonna be a little bit embarrassed to show physical affection in public. And I think the reason they're like this is because that's the way their parents were. So their parents have kind of indirectly taught them that it's embarrassing or it's not acceptable to show a lot of physical affection in public. And then finally, there is a concept called tatemae and hone. And that's like, tatemae is the person you show on the outside, and hone is your true self on the inside. And there's a lot of that in Japan. People can be really nice and pleasant and smiling, and they can compliment you, but on the inside they feel really angry and they want to kill you. That's the way Japanese people are. And Japanese society also has that kind of concept. There's like the things that society shows itself to be, and then there's the actual things that happen here in Japan. And a good example of that is, you know, you walk around Japan and everybody's just so rigi tarashi, just so polite, and you know, it looks like everybody's cold and, you know, nobody's affectionate or whatever. But I'm sorry, I'm going to be a little vulgar here, but people are really getting it on here. I mean, you know, there's like a love hotel in every town, not one, but many love hotels. You know, and people are getting busy here. You know, there's no shortage of you know, affection, if you can call it that. It's just like when you're out in society, you don't see it, but it's happening, you know, behind closed doors. I guess that's the best way I can describe it. But that's a little bit about how physical affection is showed here in Japan and what that's all about.